Hi,
Hi everybody, I'm Sandy Sarcelli,
Kathy DeGatti.
and we're here tonight to talk to you about the 6 steps that you can take to end the diet madness.
Forever.
Forever.
Yeah, we hope we're going to share some information with you tonight that maybe you haven't really heard before. I've spent a lot of years working with people who have struggled with weight, and I think one of the most heartbreaking things that I see is how badly people feel about one another. You know, there's the one thing about having weight gain, it's a lot like wearing a billboard. The whole world gets to see that you're struggling. And so a lot of people are very embarrassed about their weight. And it's really sad because I hear them talk and they use very disparaging words about themselves. You know, when I ask them why they think they're struggling, usually I'll hear things like, well, I'm just lazy. And I'll know from having just spoken to them that they have a job, they have kids, the kids are in sports, they're taking care of their parents, they're volunteering at church. There's nothing about their lives that suggests that they're lazy. So that's surely not the answer. The next thing that I usually hear is, well, I just don't have any willpower. And that's really the saddest part of all, because that's when they'll usually tell me about some kind of crazy diet that they've been on. And they'll tell me, well, you know, it really worked. I lost about 30 pounds and I was really feeling great about things. And then I don't know what happened. You know, suddenly something went wrong. And when I woke up again, I had gained 30 pounds all over again. And that's something that is just really hard for people to deal with when when the whole world watches you going up and down on the scale. It's really very devastating to people. The thing that they never really question, though, is whether the problem is themselves or the diet itself. And usually that's what ends up being the problem. You know, any fool can teach you how to lose weight. It really isn't very hard. The real testament of whether you're on the right food plan or not is when you can come back to me a year later and you're still feeling slender and you're feeling good. That's when you know that you've really hit it on the right spot. It's hard to stay on a plan that really has you feeling awful. And most of the time it's about deprivation, it's about not eating the things that you really want to eat. And it's hard for people to continue to do that kind of thing. Need to speak up.
Oh, no, you're
Sorry. One of the things that people don't realize is that you can't eat one way to lose weight and then go back to eating another way to maintain it. And that's where people get really freaked out. It's like, what do you mean? I can never have another cookie ever again?
Yeah.
Well, the truth is that the cookie affects you the same way when you weigh 120 pounds or whether you weigh 200 pounds. But the other truth is that we don't really live in a world of black and white. It's much too hard for us to be able to have an all or nothing approach to our food. Most of life is lived in the gray zone, and that's where most people have a lot of trouble, is trying to make up their mind. You know, they'll usually say to me, tell me exactly what I have to do, and I swear to you, I'll do everything you tell me to do, as if, you know, I held the key to the kingdom, and that there was some magic that I'm going to bestow upon them. And I wish that were the case, but it really isn't. Most of what people need to know about dieting is actually not all that mysterious. The food companies, the media would have you believe that it's also very confusing. You know, one year it's the low fat, no fat diet,
right.
And we all get very big because when you take away the fat, you eat the sugar.
Right.
And then people don't do well on that, so the next year the diet is all-fat diet. So now we have people eating sticks of butter as if that were a good idea. And, you know, the reality is when you really study diets. And people who study nutrition and researchers, they're really not all that confused about what it is we're supposed to be eating. There isn't a diet on the planet that will tell you shouldn't be eating veggies, fresh fruits, healthy fats, lean proteins. The mystery is not so much in the what to do, it's in the how to do it. And that's where coaching really comes in handy, because there's lots of people who know what to do, but very few people who actually know how to incorporate it into their lives. We're used to all or nothing thinking. I can either be perfect or I can be awful, and you just can't live on a cycle like that. So a lot of what I would like people to know first and foremost is that it's likely that you didn't fail your diet, but your diet failed you. If you're on the right plan, you should feel good every day when you wake up. You shouldn't be waiting desperately for this thing to be over so you can start living your life again. And when you're feeling nourished and you're eating foods that you enjoy, it's not that hard to sustain. So if you've been on a plan that had you feeling deprived to the point where you just popped a cork and went crazy and started eating again, the problem is really with the diet that you chose in the first place. And it's very likely that you have, in fact, I know you have everything you need to be successful. You just have to find the right approach.
Right. That's absolutely true, because we look at the word diet and we think, it automatically, the connotation for a lot of people is that I'm depriving myself. I'm giving something up. And once this diet is over, then everything will be great, and we're going to be fine, and we're going to be okay. So it's this whole mindset around the word diet, and diet also kind of implies temporary, and we want, it implies a beginning, a middle, and an end. But for sustainable change, sustainable weight loss, we want something that's maintainable, that can be integrated into your lifestyle, so that you're eating healthy without feeling deprived, and that it becomes just a part of your everyday. And it's a practice that you follow, and a lot of dieting, and the things that we tell ourselves around dieting and food choices, a lot comes from our state of mind. Our belief systems are about ourselves. And so when people talk to me about their struggles with food and dieting, there's a lot to be said of what they're telling themselves in the mind. I had a teacher once say to me, and I took this to heart, train your mind and your body will follow. If we tell ourselves we can't do this or that, it becomes a mantra and we end up believing it. And, what we tell ourselves is key. If we've had a diet and we feel like we didn't achieve what we wanted to achieve as we went through the process of the diet, there's, people tell me, and I hear this a lot, there's a lot of self-judgment and criticism around that.
Yeah.
Feeling like they've been a failure. And just like Kathy said, it's your diet has failed you. You have everything you need to be successful, and it's just uncovering the ways that we can really care for ourselves and talk to ourselves and train our thought processes to change these belief systems that we have developed over food and dieting to be more supportive for us. So it's releasing belief systems that we may have cultivated that aren't really supporting us anymore, and adopting new thought processes. So that's one of the key components, one of the key secrets in really ending the struggles around food choices and dieting, is really believe that you can make a lifestyle change. You can do that. I invite you now to just take a few moments and really kind of just reflect a little bit on looking back at a time where you might have been challenged with something. Maybe not necessarily a food choice. It could be anything that you've come across an obstacle, and something you somehow, some way, you've navigated past that obstacle. If you haven't done that, you wouldn't be on this call. You wouldn't be here with us right now. You're sitting here listening to this recording. There was a past experiences that you have had, that you've experienced. You've hit that challenge, and you've done whatever you needed to do to move past it. And if you can do that then, you can do that now. You can do that with diet choices and weight loss. So really, mindset, one of the secrets. Diet is not just about food alone. It's about your attitude about yourself, your mindset, and how you treat yourself.
That's a big part of it, for sure. And I'm going to go back to what I was talking about earlier for a minute about how we're really not all that confused about what we should be eating. And it is true to a great extent, but there are some issues people are dealing with today that our ancestors didn't have to deal with. There's a great number of people whose guts have been compromised. They suffer from something commonly referred to as leaky gut, and that can cause their body to respond to healthy foods in a way that is very detrimental. So we often do start people on an elimination diet just to determine whether or not certain foods are triggering their symptoms, causing inflammation. When you're inflamed, your body will never release weight. So even if you're doing a lot of the right things, if you're suffering from symptoms like skin issues, acne, rosacea, psoriasis, if you have migraine, allergy, asthma symptoms, or if you have reflux, bloating, gas, chronic constipation and or diarrhea, body aches and pains, fatigue, no matter how many hours you sleep, those are all symptoms of a food intolerance, and so you want to get to the root cause of that. These food particles can also pass the blood-brain barrier. You can say that 3 times. And that can cause issues like having difficulty focusing, concentrating, and remembering, which is something that I'm seeing at an alarming rate and among very young people. So that is a component that can be a little bit tricky, and you might want to have a little guidance in learning how to go through that so you can determine which of the healthy foods you should be eating and which ones you might be able to avoid. That process you can get through in about 2 weeks period of time, and then we can create a food plan that is good for your particular body type. And the food can seem a little overwhelming in the beginning. It can, anytime we have to make a change, it seems hard. But with a little bit of guidance, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. Honestly, it gets to a point pretty quickly where the food is not the biggest problem. The number one issue that I have in working with people is teaching them how to take care of themselves. That's the one thing we do a very poor job of teaching our children is basic self-care, particularly for women. We're the nurturers of the world, and we're brought up to make everyone else a priority. We make our children first, our husbands, our parents, everyone comes before us, and then we want to be willing to settle for whatever is left over. And you already know that whatever is left over isn't much. And the truth is, you can only give to someone what you already possess. So if you are worn out, run down, exhausted, you don't really have anything to give anyone else. So you can't be accidentally healthy. You can't wing it. You can't get up in the morning and say, I'm going to figure it out. You have to plan ahead a little bit and know what you need and make sure that you always have it available to you, which can sound a little overwhelming, but when you take it in steps, it really doesn't have to be that hard. If you were to start even very simply making a practice of every night after dinner, before you go to bed, when you get home, whatever time works best for you, of just planning what you're going to eat the next day and making sure that you have it either with you or easily available. And when you have the right choices and they're there and you can just grab it and eat it, the likelihood is you're going to make that right choice. But if you put all your effort into taking care of someone else, the likelihood is you're going to end up stopping somewhere on your way home. It's going to be some kind of a junky thing that you end up settling for just because you're starving. You know it isn't the right thing,
Right.
but you're done. You've given it all at the office, and that's
yes.
all that's left.
Right.
And so you settle for cheap and easy. And unfortunately, you pay a really high price for that. One of the things I like everyone to keep in mind is that weight is always just another side effect. It isn't the root cause of the problem. It's just another symptom of what's happening when you don't learn how to give yourself what you really need. Your body is your friend. It is always trying to work hard to have you feel good and look good. It tries to compensate for all the silly, stupid things that we do every day. And so when you have the willingness to just make sure you have some simple basics that can have you feeling nourished and feeling good, it's amazing how much more that you can accomplish in a day and how much easier it is to be able to lose the weight and keep it off. But you can't just wing it. True freedom comes within a structure. I always thought that freedom meant I could do what I want, when I feel like it. And what happens every time that you do that is you end up at the mercy of what everybody else wants. If you don't have a plan, someone else is going to make one for you. So if you want to have a life where you can have the things that are most important to you, you have to be deliberate about it and you have to be conscious. So a lot of the work that we do is teaching people how to incorporate that kind of structure so that you can have the habits that will support you in making right choices and feeling good about it without feeling overwhelmed.
Absolutely. And it's really, I can't emphasize enough, and I'm going to further speak to this, that how much taking care of yourself impacts the whole.
Right.
And, like anything else, I talk to people about self-care often too, and working with others. And part of it, in this self-care, you want to believe, you're believing that you're worth it, but you're also, you're recognizing that in taking time to plan, it's a bit of a change if you're not a planner.
Right.
So it's kind of like, I use this analogy with exercise. If you're starting an activity routine, and maybe you're talking with an exercise professional and they're saying, okay, do this routine twice a week or once a week, and in the beginning it feels foreign to you. But then as you adopt it and start getting used to the practice, it starts to become a part of your day-to-day. Same thing with food choices and preparing and planning. So I help people, the planning process, really, we don't want that to be an extra weight on your shoulders, oh my gosh, I have to do this too, and it's another burden, and we feel stressed. We're trying to make our lives easier and be less stressed, but then we're taking this on and we feel more anxious about it. And so I like to look at each person's personal day-to-day, what's their daily life like, and how can you incorporate self-care practices that are going to work for you. And when in your schedule do you have more energy in the morning or in the evening? Maybe during those energy times, maybe those are the times you can take time to plan and prepare. when can I give myself some restorative time? Give myself time to do things that I enjoy. You know, or like I said earlier, mindset is such an attitude. It's such a game changer. And when we have a positive mindset supporting us, it fuels our action. So how can we bring that positive mindset? We want to take care of ourselves and do things that we enjoy doing. And where can we incorporate that in our day-to-day? So if you have 5 minutes in the morning, if that's your time, you take that time.
Yes.
Do something that you like, whether it's sitting quietly, whether it's reading a book, having a nice cup of tea or something in the morning that gives you something that really fuels your mind. It can be very restorative, and it can help be a motivator in going through the planning process and looking at food choices and figuring out, okay, how can I make sure that I'm prepped so that I have healthy foods at my disposal that are quick and easy. And we help you with the practicalities of that. Finding that time in your schedule, blocking out time in your schedule to do that for you. You're the most important link. You know, it's up to you. And when you choose for you, it makes all the difference for all aspects of your life. Truly does.
I know how I start my day determines the rest of the day completely.
Oh.
I get up early just so I have that time without looking at my cell phone and do the things that really help me set my intentions for the day,
Mm-hmm.
and help me to remember why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. You know, when you just hit the ground running and you just go from one thing to the next without even thinking about it, it becomes very easy to make choices in the moment that you wouldn't make if you had spent the time thinking about it. So I'm a big proponent of the morning ritual.
Right.
But I think the other thing that I would like people to know, because I think this is a real game changer as well. When it comes to weight and diet and figuring all this out, there really is no finish line. And too often I think people put a deadline on their happiness. You know, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to buy new clothes, I'm going to be happy with myself when I reach a certain number on the scale. And then many times you get to that number and you realize you still have the same husband, you're still in the same house, your kids are the same, your boss is the same. Very little has actually changed in your life except the number on the scale. So the real way to be able to accomplish a good steady weight goal is to let go of the finish line and to start living your life right this very minute. You know, you already have everything you need to be happy. The scale is something that you can work towards, because if there's a health issue involved, you know, you want that to be something that you address, but you don't have to wait to be happy until you get there. You know, the true happiness you can find in every day. If you start your day with a gratitude list, that's a good way to become mindful of that. But beyond that, you know, I think too often we're always making happiness be something that's down the road. You know, I can remember saying, oh, my life will be different when my baby sleeps through the night. And then it was when he gets into school, and then it's when he gets out of school, and then it's when he gets married. And you're always pushing it down the line. And people do that with the weight also. And so it makes them impatient, and it makes them miss out on a lot of what's already present for them today. So when you can start to enjoy the journey and buy new clothes today and buy them again in another couple of months, or have them taken in, but live every day as if it were your best, because it is, you know, and then you can ease into it a little bit. You can start to learn to do things differently. You can take things in a way that isn't overwhelming, because you don't have this big pressure on you that I'm just going to have to put my head down and be miserable until I get to this weight, and then I'm going to be happy and do all these wonderful things for myself. No, buy yourself flowers tomorrow for absolutely no reason whatsoever. You know, get your nails done, get your hair done, look your best every single day. And that's far more motivating to be able to continue to do the next right thing than it is to wear the same thing over and over again and kind of put yourself in hiding, which is something else people do. When they diet, they want to retreat from the world, they want to be separate. They don't want to eat what other people are eating, and nobody wants to live that way. You know, there'll come a point where you're just going to say, the heck with it. You know, I don't want that for myself. So a good food plan should help you incorporate all the things that are important to you. You should be able to live your life every day as you're working your way towards a goal, because we always have something that we can reach for down the road, but it shouldn't take away from the joy of today.
Absolutely. What I find too is that often we can approach things with such heaviness.
Yeah.
Such heaviness, and especially if we feel like we've gone through dieting in the past, or we've made food choices that haven't been the most supportive to us, and then we're feeling drained from that experience. So when we think about the prospect of making a change again, there's heaviness.
Mm-hmm.
And so I invite you to really, when you're looking at making healthier food choices, to really approach it with some levity and some lightness and
joy.
And joy, you know, and
Yes.
and you know, it's so true what Kathy said. We have everything that we need, you know, and what happens is that we block our communication systems to communicate with ourselves internally, to access those tools that we already need to bring our happiness forward. Happiness isn't out there. It doesn't depend on diet. It doesn't depend on your circumstances or your experiences. You bring your happiness out from within yourself. And how do we do that? Because we're in a society of externals, right? We're always going out there. We're always reaching for that thing that's going to be that gem that's going to make us, you know, this all fueled with happiness. But we go within to find that.
Right.
And that's a journey in itself. And we can enjoy the journey that the internal journey we take brings. And watch as that internal journey starts to impact your outward experiences. You know, when I talk about an internal journey, I talk about practices of reflection, contemplation, getting to know yourself, meditation, things that help you, you know, rest in the present moment. You know, we might have questions and uncertainties and problems that we're facing that we might not know the answers to. But that doesn't mean we're not going to get those answers. We might know them right. We might not know them right now, but we're open to the possibilities, and we're resting in the present moment and trusting in that, in the present. You know, that if we just make it our intention to focus on the moment that we're in right now, it takes the heaviness away of anxiety about the future, or the heaviness away from, I've had these experiences in the past, developing belief systems that we've cultivated that have said to us, I'm not successful at using dieting as an example. I'm not successful at dieting based on the past. In the present moment, we let go of all of that stuff. You know, and every moment is a new beginning, and so all we have is that present moment. So that's two big secrets actually in ending the diet, ending diets forever. You know, to approach your next steps with levity and lightness, and to be in the moment and enjoy the gifts that every moment brings to you. There's always gems in each moment. So
I'm sure some of you thought we would be talking more about food.
Right.
And there's certainly, I'm happy to share with you that you do have to first and foremost determine if you have food intolerances. Beyond that, most people will do well if they're eating lots of veggies, variety, some lean protein, some fruit, and some healthy fats. It's really not even more complicated than that. If you're young, you can add in some healthy grains. If your hormones are not as lively as they used to be, grains may be a little bit harder for you to eat and maintain a slender body. But that's something that you can figure out over time. Truly, in working with people, I find that these issues that we've talked about tonight are really the bigger stumbling blocks. I find most people have a pretty good idea of what they should be doing. They just don't know how. And so a lot of the work that we do in getting people to make a successful lifestyle change, which in my opinion is what I said earlier, it's where you lose the weight and you're able to maintain it because you're eating foods that you love, that are nourishing you, that are giving you energy, your sleep is good, it all feels good. And so when you're feeling that way, there's no reason to make it end. You don't have to wait for that finish line because you're content on your way there, and what you need to eat to maintain a slender body is the same thing you need to eat to get there. You don't eat diet food to lose weight and then go back to eating other food to maintain it. So it's really not complicated in that regard, but coaching, I think, goes a long way in helping people to move through these changes step by step. It helps to have accountability, but I think more importantly, the way I see myself often is, when you're going through change, it can be hard to appreciate that you're moving at all. Sometimes it feels like you've done so much and you still feel like you're standing in the same spot. It's like walking through that dark tunnel and you have no idea where you are on the journey. But as a coach, I can see down there and I can see where, no, you were here before and now you're all the way over here, and you know what, that's not really far from where the sun is shining. So it helps to have someone who can be a guidepost along the way, who can see you in a way that you can't see yourself. It can be encouraging to know that people can mark your progress for you and show you where you started and where you're going. So that's a big part of the journey. We work with people in a couple of different ways here at Vibrance for Life. Our premier program for weight loss is the Metabolic Reset, which is really quite remarkable. It is probably the most high-touch program that I've ever done. It allows me to see all of your food every day. You record it in the portal. I can comment on it. I can make suggestions if I think that something might work better. You have instant access to me through the messenger that's on there. You have weekly coaching sessions with both myself and Sandy, which is great because we both bring something very different to the table. And it's a very comprehensive program. It's 72 days long. It has a 40-day losing phase and then a 30-day maintenance, which is really important. That's probably the hardest part of all, is to learn how to go from a losing plan to then incorporating more food and, getting to a good place of maintenance. That program has been very powerful. I experienced it myself. I learned a lot. It does require a little bit of change, which was good. I think every once in a while it's really good to step outside of your regular routine so you can assess whether what you're doing is really working for you or not. So often, because we live such busy lives, we tend to just do the same thing over and over again because it's familiar and we don't have to think about it. But something like this program or some of the others that kind of force you to step outside for a couple of weeks gives you a good opportunity to think about what it is you want to put back in again, or what it is you think that you're ready to make a a real change about.
Right, right. And, I found that people that have gone through the program have also had some epiphanies in their lives as well, in other aspects of their lives, not just food choices.
Right.
It's the program in itself is a journey, and it's really a journey of exploration.
Yes.
And it's an opportunity to explore in a way that you haven't before, and that journey takes you through this continuing building of knowledge, learning what you're needing to do, experiencing all of these things that you're doing, taking into your body nutritionally. And as you do that, some of the realizations that come forth apply to other aspects in people's lives. So, in people that I've talked to, they've had insights into things related to work or things related to relationships or family, and it's really brought some solace in those areas of their lives as well. So it's really, I think, it can be transformative on so many levels and such a positive way. So.
Well, that's the whole nature of what we do. As holistic practitioners, we understand that if you're struggling in any area of your life, whether it be illness, depression, weight gain, it always encompasses every aspect of your life. If you're addressing just the food and you're not looking at the other parts, you're not going to be successful. You have to be able to look at all the parts of your life that are not working and be able to address them in a way that you can be supported in creating the future that you want for yourself. So it's very cool to watch people just blossom into these magnificent creatures.
Yes. I mean, just complete shifts. Really, really, it's really, it's a joy to see that. It's such a complete shift. And to Kathy's point earlier, sometimes people don't realize the milestones that they've come to, and then when you start to remind them of all that they have accomplished, and they say, "Oh my gosh, yes, I did do that," and how great is that? To really celebrate your successes and celebrate the fact that yes, you've done this for yourself and you made the choice to do that, and celebrate how that's impacted so many areas of your life. Really, really a joy.
You think we like what we do?
Yeah. a little bit.
So there's a couple different ways you can work with this. As I said, the Metabolic Reset is our premier program. That's top of the line. You won't get more time or attention than you'll get in that particular plan. And you can expect to lose anywhere from 20 to 30 pounds within that 72-day period. I also am willing to give anyone a free diet evaluation. You can write to me at Kathy at Vibrance for Life. It's Kathy at Vibrance for Life. I'll send you a diet evaluation form. You can fill it out, and I will write back to you and set up a time for us to go over the results and give you a free 30-minute consultation based on what I see your answers are on the diet eval. There's the 28-day, then there's the 28-day elimination diet if you want to determine your food intolerances, which can be a big game changer for people, especially if you suffer from any of the symptoms I spoke about earlier. That's something you definitely want to look into, because medicating those symptoms is actually a very dangerous thing to do. Those symptoms are your body's early warning signals. And when you're willing to pay attention to that, get to the root cause and discover why you're having those symptoms, you can address it, and you know what? It goes away for good. If you start taking a pill that does nothing but mask the symptom, the damage is still going on. You may not be feeling it the way you were before, but you know you haven't made any progress, because the moment you stop the pill, all the symptoms come raging back again. So when you leave something like that unaddressed, or you just quiet the symptom without addressing it, you're going to end up having a much bigger problem down the road. So the 28-day elimination is really something that you should consider if you have any type of a chronic condition that you're dealing with day in and day out. It's most likely being caused by a food that your body is not responding well to.
Absolutely. And the other way I work with people through this too is I work with them through, I offer you a conversation, a phone call, or through email. We can talk about the things that you're facing, to navigating through your day-to-day, because that does impact, our day-to-day lives impact our choices. What the struggles or the stresses and the joys and the sorrows, they all impact our actions. And so, what can I help you with? We can talk about that. We can talk about ways that I can help you. And I work with people through one-on-one sessions together. I also have some classes that I do in a group setting to help to help you, guide you through this process of going within, taking that journey within and helping you access the tools that you have within yourself and bring them forward to impact your life. So you can reach me too here at Sandy@vibranceforlife.com, and you can also call us. Kathy's, we're both at 973-218-1199. I'm extension 3, Kathy's extension 2. So, we're here, we're available, and we can talk and see about what's happening with you personally.
When is your next group?
The next group is April 28th. It's a Sunday at 4 o'clock, and it brings together different relaxation and meditation techniques, all in a particular sequence. So you can get to experience that, see what resonates with you, and see how that sequence of experiences helps you and helps how you're feeling. So April 28th at 4 o'clock here at Vibrance for Life.
Yeah, that's a great way to just stick your toe in the water,
Absolutely.
so to speak.
Yeah.
The classes are very reasonably priced, and you get to experience Sandy, who really is quite magical. So I would put that on your calendar if I were you.
Thank you.
So that's what we have for you tonight. We gave you 6 different things that we find to be real game changers in helping people move from where they are to where they want to be. We hope you found that to be helpful, and we look forward to you reaching out for your free diet eval or Sandy's class or whatever resonated best with you tonight.
Yes, and what we talked about tonight will be posted in the group as a page that you can access as a resource. So in the group, there's a section for files, and we're going to be building a library of different resources for you, and this will be one of them. So look for that. We'll be posting that, and you'll be able to access it at any time there.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate you spending time with us tonight.
Yes, we really appreciate it, and have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.